Welcome, everyone, to the Sonoma Spiel. My name is Tim Zahner with the Sonoma Valley Visitors Bureau. Today, I did a very fun Sonoma thing. We dedicated a bridge. Yes, there's this very immense, large bridge. It's at least 25 feet long, and we dedicated it to a man named Larry Murphy. And he was a former mayor of Sonoma and a city council member, and most importantly, he owned Murphy's Irish Pub. And Larry was the kind of guy that if you agreed with him or didn't agree with him, I guess, he connected people like a bridge. And people stood up and said fun things about Larry and what a great guy he was. I never met him, but I know the pub well. It's still there, and it's a great place to go. And they had an Irish fiddler playing, and it was a really heartfelt tribute to someone who saw that the way to work with people is to connect with people. And a guy gave a speech about, we were going to put a statue, but we realized the bridge is a better thing. And I bring that up today because today I have a very special guest. In fact, I have two very special guests. And this time I do actually mean it. This time I actually mean it. They're here all the way from Maui, which is in the United States, for people who don't know that. Part of Hawaii. There's no bridge to it, but it's still a wonderful place to visit. And we have a shared experience between Sonoma Valley and Maui that we're going to talk a little bit about. I want to welcome my very special guest, and I actually mean it, Sherry Duong. Sherry, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Good
Thanks for having us.
Of course. And Leanne Pletcher. Leanne, how are you?
Yes, aloha. I'm doing great. Thanks for having us on.
Great. Oh my gosh. Is there going to be a language test? Because the two words I learned when I was there, aloha, mahalo.
And later we'll teach you another one.
Oh, yes.
A hui ho.
Okay, well, now you're just like throwing them right out. So you guys are with Maui Visitors Bureau, Maui Convention Visitors Bureau, Maui
Visitors and Convention Bureau.
Thank you. And you are essentially doing for Maui what I do for Sonoma Valley, right?
Exactly.
And you've already done what I do. You visited a winery, I think. Did you guys go to a winery yet? Have you had a chance to go to yet?
Okay, if our boss is watching, no, we did not go to a winery.
No, I made you go to one because that's where my visitor center was. Did you guys see my little visitor center in the corner?
We did, and we spoke with the young lady there.
Good,
she was
good.
very informative,
Good.
Gave us some really great advice on what to do in a day if you're visiting Sonoma
That's
in
right,
a day.
in a day. And that's why I sent you to Jacuzzi Family Vineyards, where we have our visitor center. And let's just pretend it's sunny and beautiful outside. It is slightly raining, right? A little bit?
A little bit.
We had pockets of sun and rain today, so that's what made it interesting. We were, it makes you prepared for anything.
Leanne, what is your title at Maui?
I am Director of PR and Marketing.
You see that? You like that? She said, I like that. She said, it didn't rain. It was pockets of sunshine interspersed with mist. It was so beautiful. Yeah, I got you, lady.
You got me.
I know what you're doing. And Sherry, what do you do at the Maui VCB Tourism?
I do whatever Leanne tells me to do. But no, essentially, I'm the executive director at the Bureau.
So you kind of do what I do over there, which is a lot of, visitors bureaus, tourism bureaus, they're weird things because we go and we convince people to come to our places and spend some money and support the local businesses and then go home, right? Because we're not in the real estate business. We're in the short-term real estate business, essentially. But then our families don't understand what we do at all. They don't quite understand that, I work for the hotels and the wineries and the little shops, but also the farmers and the walking tour people and the bicycle people. Is that a similar thing in Maui?
We work for the community, basically, essentially.
Exactly. And how long have you been doing this, Sherry?
I've been with the Bureau for 15 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long have you been doing tourism?
About 25 years.
Okay. And it was a condition of your parole? Why are you in this industry? Because how did you end? You didn't plan to study this, did you?
No, I didn't. Actually, it just came up. I am originally from Philadelphia.
Okay, say it. Say it.
Go Eagles!
Oh
Thank
my
you.
gosh.
Thank you.
You know what? You can do that for this year. And the only reason anyone rooted for the Eagles is actually they were rooting against the Chiefs. I just want to be really clear. We all love Philadelphia, though, because you guys have that weird sandwich made with Cheese Whiz.
Oh, you're
Philly
talking about the
cheesesteak.
Philly cheesesteaks.
Philly
Yes,
cheesesteak,
yes.
Cheese Wit.
Yes.
Okay, so you're from Philadelphia.
So, yep.
Okay.
So we came to Maui for a vacation, and we decided that was the perfect place to raise our two children, and we stayed there.
Really?
And decided, and when you're on Maui, tourism is the industry, right?
right.
So what job do you get? You get anything that's in the tourism, basically.
Right.
So that's what I did.
Okay.
Started off with working in the hotels, and before you know it, I ended up at the bureau.
Welcome. That's great. See, you're like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to tell everyone else to come here. It's a great job, isn't it? It's very rewarding. Leanne, you are not from Philadelphia?
I'm not. I'm originally from Wilmington, Delaware.
Okay.
But actually moved to Hawaii from South Bend, Indiana.
Oh,
My husband and I eloped on Hawaii Island.
and you stayed?
We stayed. Well, we moved 7 years later, but it was ultimately my husband's plan to move to Hawaii.
He was like, I'm going to get her out of South Bend.
It
Wahaha.
was very easy to do, of course. So
But if Notre Dame wants to buy an ad right now on this podcast, contact me. I hear South Bend is lovely. No, so are you from, when you moved from Delaware to South Bend, were you there for school or why were you in Indiana?
it was for work. And then I did end up going to Notre Dame for graduate school. But
Okay.
then I had a lot of different types of experiences there, everything from healthcare to ice cream to hospitality. And moving to Hawaii, like Sherry said, tourism and hospitality is the game. So
Right.
I ended up back in hospitality, and we were there till 2017, and then moved over to Maui for this position.
Oh, great.
Maui
Okay.
Visitors Bureau.
So you moved from the Big Island, which they
Yes.
call Hawaii,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yes, Hawaii Island.
But yes, Hawaii. 'Cause that's the other thing I've learned when I was there on my extensive research and linguistic journey. The little apostrophes mean you kind of stop.
Okina.
The Okina.
Is that the grammatical term of that? Is that Okina?
There's a pause between, yes.
I'm learning words here. That's amazing. Thank
So
you.
you say Hawaii,
Hawaii.
that little pause between the two I's. At
And the
end.
W is with a V sound. So not Hawaii, like a lot of people say, but it's Hawaii.
Okay. But I still pronounce your name Sherry and your name Leanne, right?
Yes.
I haven't messed that up yet. Okay. See, and that's what I love when I was there. There was really neat opportunity to learn the different languages and stuff like that with the signs, and the culture was everywhere. And I really enjoyed it. I should ask or mention, I was there, and kind of the connection, if we could just hop into that, between Sonoma and Maui, is that we're kind of bound by unfortunate events. We both had wildfires that became, beyond just wildfires, became town fires. And they affected a lot of people's houses. And I'll speak here from Sonoma Valley. It was 2017. We had one in 19, we had in 20. And there was like this, it was terrible to be here. But then also the next tragedy was that people didn't come here.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was many of the people who lost their homes or had their businesses affected worked in hospitality, just like in Maui, Sonoma Valley.
Mm-hmm.
Agriculture is a huge part of it, the grapes, but hospitality is a big part of it. And so we call it the double tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was that whole trick of how do we go out and tell people, hey, come on back. Like it's like the time has passed. Thank you for supporting us by not coming when we weren't ready. But now is the time to come back and support the small businesses that are overwhelmingly a part of the industry. I'm guessing Maui is open for business because you're sitting here with Maui logos on your shirts. And you're here for a travel
Exactly.
show.
Right.
Is there anything you want to tell the listeners of this podcast about Maui and why they should come visit?
Well, actually, like you said, the reason we are here is because we are attending the Travel Adventure Show this weekend.
Okay.
It's at the Santa Clara Convention Center. And it is just to let the consumers know that Maui is welcoming our visitors back, that, even though, some of the businesses that were affected on Front Street in Lahaina there, some of them have relocated to other areas of the island and have reopened. Permits have been issued already for our residents to rebuild their homes.
Okay.
So as you're, driving through the parts of Lahaina, you'll see some new buildings that are starting to come up. So yeah, we're so much more. The island is so much more as a destination than just Lahaina itself.
Right.
And if we can just, we really appreciate the fact that, at the time when we needed our visitors to understand that we needed that time, but now it's the understanding that to help us in that part of rebuilding, that our visitors need to come back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like now's the time.
Now is the time, exactly. So
support Maui.
there was a lot of mixed messages in the very beginning, and we're still battling that.
Absolutely.
People are still like, well, we hear that you don't want visitors, and
Right.
that's another different story
Right,
that we
and
could
that-
go into, and
well,
that could be another podcast that we could
I
talk
mean, for
about.
those of us that work
But
in the
yeah.
industry, there is that dance between tourism and over-tourism, and tourism that's respectful and appropriate and sustainable, and tourism that's extractive. And every industry has this. I'm sure I could bring an asphalt plant in here and say, wow, asphalt's terrible because it smells and it pollutes. And they're like, yeah, but you drove a car here on asphalt to get here. So we have to have that conversation,
have to have those-
right? Like an honest conversation.
Right.
Right. But one of the things that we're doing, but one of the things that we're doing to battle that, where you're talking about the over-tourism, is that, Hawaii Tourism Authority has put together what they call destination management action plans.
Okay.
Where each island has a steering committee, which is part of the community. It's just not, hotelers or CVBs put together, but our community. And they address what are the concerns of the community. And then we work on those with the other agencies. So we work on with, DNLR, we work with the county officials, we work with state officials, governors, things like that to try to address those things. And some of the things that on Maui that we have done to address those concerns have actually moved the needle for us, in terms of the road to Hana, which was really a really contentious
I hear that's
thing,
a very impacted, very popular
very
thing.
big problem. But now I think that we're starting to chip away at that, and sunscreen, we're a non-mineral
coral reef
sunscreen
thing,
now.
right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there was an ordinance passed by the county of Maui that it can only be mineral-only sunscreen. So now we have 20-plus reef-safe sunscreen dispensers set up at our county beaches.
I love, again, this was really smart. I stole so many ideas from you guys, I cannot tell you. When you travel, you're like,
charge.
this is a great idea. I'm stealing it.
right.
But I really liked was that you've done a good job with on-site signage and communicating at all the different touch points that a visitor will see about the major issues and the sustainability and protecting the environment. And I think a lot of people, like a criticism a lot of people give to tourism is all you care about is making that hotel line go up and getting more and more people. But when you really get to it, we work at places that we love because they're also our homes. And we want them to be there long term. So it's sustainable, right?
Right.
And then, but we can partner. And Sherry, I love that idea about working with the community on those messaging.
And I think what people don't really realize is that our hotel workers are the residents in the communities. So even by going to those hotels, you're supporting the community. But like Sonoma, we've been really working on getting the awareness up of all the local businesses and supporting that when you come in the farmers markets and the farms.
Okay, I want to talk about these.
Yes.
So I'm a big fan of farmers markets. And usually on Fridays, I do go to the farmers market because I have to make sure Jen with Baker and Cook is still making her fruit galettes perfectly. I got to test them, right? Because if you don't test things, you don't know.
Smart.
Thank you.
Quality
and also
control.
the crepe lady, make sure the crepes are good. And the coffee guy. There's also vegetables there. So I talked to Jimmy, the pumpkin guy. I got all the usual people. You sent me to the I think you call it Upcountry to the up the hill up to
Country
this
farmers
Farmers
market.
market.
wonderful farmers market, and I had a great time up there. And I loved it because it was like these are local farmers selling all sorts of neat stuff, and of course, it being tropical, it's different stuff. But the characters were all the same. Right, every farmer's market has certain kind of people. The people bring their own jugs and they're gonna get like weird bone broth, carrot juice stuff or whatever. And then the weird prepper people. And then like the guys like me that are the pastry people. Like they're all the same characters, but with the Maui feeling for it. And that was a great farmer's market. So you told me about that.
We have several of those throughout the island. We got some on the west side. We have some in the central, down
South
in
Maui.
Kihei, South Maui.
Okay, let's pretend like the microphone's not on. What's your favorite? Or which one would you recommend I go on a Wednesday through Saturday? Which ones are open that time?
I would have to say, I don't know which one is actually the days. I'm not really familiar with what days are open and what areas. And I think that's why it's wonderful that they're all throughout the island,
Got
is
it.
that you're able just to, when you arrive, you can find out what is open and just go to that.
Sure, you dodged that trap too. You're so good at this. You're so good. It's like you asking me what's my favorite winery. And you get that like, which kid do you love most, Mom? You're like, I can't answer that question. Okay, but I love the coffee and all sorts of great stuff that they had there. Leanne, you were saying
Oh
something?
no,
Sorry.
I was going to say. So the question I would ask is like, because we have the farmers markets, but we have so many farm tours
Yes.
now, everything, and I don't know if you had the chance to do that while you're on island, but Farms, you pick
Okay.
the produce that they make, either your brunch
That's
or
great.
lunch out
Oh,
of.
really?
And then we have the a cacao farm tour that's part of
Okay.
Maui Kuya State Chocolate. We've got a Maui pineapple.
Well, I don't want to
tour,
shock you. It's called
so-
Maui Gold, and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
Maui
join their
Gold.
Maui
Yes.
Gold of the Month Pineapple Club if you want.
You went on that tour, did you not?
I had so much fun. And I had worked in tropical agriculture before that, and I was jealous because I was like, wow, you guys are professional. Because I was a volunteer a long time ago. And I really enjoyed that tour. That was really fun. And then they showed me all the stuff they do with that. And that's what I think when people think of Maui, do you guys call us mainlanders or whatever?
Mainland, yeah,
Mainland.
I think the mainland is
People who are not
People.
from the islands.
The continent.
The continent.
continent.
The Continentals.
Yes.
When you talk about us Continentalists, I think we often think of Hawaii as, the beaches and maybe whales and like, we don't think of the farming.
The sun, sand, and surf is what you
Right.
think of.
That's kind of like what people think, like what Florida is like, but Florida is very flat and full of mosquitoes and mice from Disneyland. And it's a lovely place, Florida. We love you. However, when I was in Hawaii, I was surprised at how rocky and mountainous and beautiful and lush and the agricultural history that you have there.
So we have a volcano. I mean, a dormant volcano. So you're going to have that, with that elevation and the different climates.
The great soil and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
and the thing, I know we're talking about Maui, but I think what the beauty of Hawaii in general as a state is that you've got all these different islands to visit, and they're all different and unique in its own way. So like when we someone will come up to us and say, well, which is my first time visiting the island? Which one should I go to first? And we're like, okay, well, you need to match the island to your personality.
Oh, I like that. It's like the Cosmo quiz. Okay.
So then we start asking them, well, what is it that you like to do? What are, your character, going to just the things what they like, they don't like. And then from that, then we kind of formalize and say, well, we think that Kauai would be great for you because you like to do a lot of outdoor adventure,
okay,
that type of thing. So getting more into what the visitor is and then matching it to the island.
To that experience there.
To the experience, exactly. And if you have more than one, then that gives you an opportunity to come back several different times to visit several different islands.
Right. Okay. Good. See, I like this.
Yeah.
Well, let's imagine you're talking to someone and they live in a beautiful destination already. And it's near a major city and they have great food and wine. And they have mountains and they've got farmers markets. Why should that person go to Maui?
Marketing person.
Oh, I know, right? So I think, no, honestly, I mean, South Bend, Indiana is not mountainous by any means, but when I landed in Hawaii, when my foot hit the tarmac, it was outside because Kona's airport is outside, but it was that sense of aloha that just touched my spirit like right away. And I don't think you're going to find that everywhere. I mean, when you on the continent, you drive from place to place. But
Right.
here, where you get off a plane after being over the ocean for so many hours, and it was just this feeling of just such a welcoming feeling. And I think the people make a big difference in Hawaii too. That's what differentiates us from some of those other, and they're all beautiful. Believe me, we love visiting them too. And that's my PR response.
But I think also just to add to that as well is that, one of the things that makes Maui unique from all of our other sister islands is the fact that Maui County is 3 islands, and a lot of people don't realize
Okay,
that.
so tell me about that.
So we have Maui County. It consists of Maui, Lanai, and Molokai.
Okay.
So that's 3 islands. And so given that, you can actually do a day trip over to Lanai by a ferry out of Maalaea Harbor.
Okay.
And then come back at the end of the day, no extra room, and
Right, you don't have to spend the night in a hotel and like that.
Exactly. And then you could also go to Molokai by taking a little 9-seater propeller plane over.
Just like
So
a helicopter ride.
It's like a little helicopter ride. So that's another thing that differentiates us from our sister islands. Is
Right.
that our 3 islands, you could do day trips. It's just
It's a 3-for-1 deal on Maui. That's what I'm getting at right here. Is that the one that's kind of crescent shaped in the middle of the
You're thinking of Molokini.
Molokini? Okay, I think I saw that from up above.
Yeah,
or
that's a
something.
wildlife bird sanctuary that people
Okay.
will do snorkeling on the inside and then diving on the backside.
That is
of
cool. And no one lives on that island. It's just like
You know, it's just it's a
Little-
bird
it's a crater.
sanctuary. Yeah.
That
it's
is
a bird
so neat.
sanctuary. It's a little crater.
So the things I can do in Maui then, go to the beach, go do wildlife viewing, go shopping at the small little, places that will, I saw little stands selling stuff and
Right.
things like that.
Hiking.
There is a cost.
Sunrise,
Sunrise.
Sunset.
sunrise or
Haleakala.
sunset.
Okay. And then I do know there's also a Costco. Is that true?
Is that an experience?
Actually, for me, it was.
The layout's a little different from what you're used to, right?
So for those that absolutely need to go get their hot dog, there is that chance for a little taste of the continent.
But actually, across the street from the Costco, there is a food truck court.
And that's where Sherry put me up. And
yes.
I actually loved it
next
because
to Courtyard Marriott.
yeah, and because Sherry said, here's some great restaurants. I'm like, I'm actually going to every one of those food trucks, and I loved it. And there was a great coffee truck right there, and it was really good. But I'm so glad you're here because you have to tell me something. Moco, loco, moco,
Loco moco.
loco moco. It's like rice and like a hamburger bun and a hamburger, and like gravy and like an egg. Did I describe it right?
So it's like a Hawaiian heart attack, basically.
It's like the spam musubi, which is also a Hawaiian heart attack.
That's another thing I want to talk about. Okay, so
So you're right. So you get like 2 scoops of rice, then you have a hamburger patty on top,
Yeah.
then you've got the gravy on top,
Right.
and then they have a
Fried egg.
over easy fried egg.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's
And
just,
and then it's served. Oh, sorry. Not in addition to the rice, you also get mac salad.
max up. Macaroni.
Macaroni
salad.
Macaroni salad, yeah. Macaroni potato salad.
And that was, so I
all
was
the
there and they had that. I'm like, I'm going to eat that. And like, I like this. I don't know what on earth I am eating.
No green.
No green. Very good. Let's talk about Spam. Spam seems to play a huge part in a lot of the Hawaiian cuisine, or not native Hawaiian cuisine, but like introduced cuisine. What's going on with Spam in Hawaii, people? Is it just like everyone likes it? Like, what is Musubi? I've heard of it.
Oh, okay. So no, I
yeah.
I thought you said what's going on with spam. I'm like, nothing's going on. It's still there. Everybody keeps eating it.
So
Because I know it's from World War II.
It's-
my
yeah,
brother
exactly.
lived in
Yes.
Micronesia for 3 years, and it was huge there. Obviously, World War II, and the whole, it's for those who don't know, for kids like my kids who don't know what Spam is. My son brought it home a couple months ago. Goes, Dad, have you heard of this stuff? I'm like, oh my god. Yeah, it's a shelf stable meat product that was used for long term storage, for example, during the
Right.
Pacific War, and the whole South Pacific through Asia, Spam became introduced, right? And it was a big thing here in the 60s, 70s, and it kind of fell away in the 80s. But it remains in certain parts of the world. And that was my point. When I got there, I'm like, there's Spam on stuff.
So the popular thing is that you can go into almost every gas station in Hawaii, and you'll see what they call spam musubi. What it is it's a slice of spam, and it has rice on the bottom, and it's wrapped in a seaweed.
Okay, almost like the Japanese style
Yes.
sushi
Like a
rice.
sandwich.
Like a
yeah.
little
Yeah.
sandwich,
It's a
breakfast
sort of
sandwich, and they
grabbable.
So good.
people eat that for breakfast.
so good.
for lunch, for a snack.
They need those here. Although you should go to Maui to get them. Because you shouldn't just have them here. You need to go there to get them because things taste better where they're from. Right?
And a number of our restaurants, a number of our chefs have actually done different spins on it so that it's
A little homage there.
different. Yes.
Let's talk about food. Sonoma Valley is a big food destination. We like our food here. But a big part of travel is trying the different foods there. What kind of food would I experience in Maui that's interesting or different, or even just the Maui spin on it?
I would say it's just so fresh because they're working, they're sourcing a lot of their ingredients from the local farms
Right,
and whatnot. So that's a big part of it. And if I can throw a plug in here, we are doing and it's targeted to the Maui residents,
Okay.
but it's an anything but ia, which is fish,
Oh, okay.
poke recipe contest. So
Wait.
poke
Yeah, go.
is normally everyone would think that that's ahi or fish.
Correct.
Correct. So this is helping people recognize that poke actually means cubed. So it could be a cube of papaya, it could be a cube of beets, things like that. So we're kind of challenging our residents to find, come up with recipes that use these farmers' ingredients.
Like breadfruit or something like that.
Yeah.
Breadfruit, ulu.
Oh, ulu.
So that's, so that makes our cuisine kind of unique because we have those types of things like the canoe crops, like ulu or breadfruit, coconut or niu or kalo, especially, or the taro.
Oh, taro.
if you
Okay,
will.
yeah, okay. And that's what. Okay, thank you. You call those canoe crops
Yes, so that means they were brought to the islands on canoes
as
from
part of
other.
the Polynesian expansion. And okay, I think Hawaii has literally been kind of the crossroads of the Pacific. There, you have all these different cultures that bring stuff there.
A melting pot.
A melting pot. Is poke Hawaiian or is that brought from somebody else, or does anyone?
Not sure I know the answer to that, but it's I know it's a technique.
Yeah,
is
so
what
it means
is.
cubed. That is so
It
funny.
just means that it's cut and cubed.
I love poke bowls, and they're very big in Hawaii. They caught on here in California. I make them at home because they're pretty easy. I don't cue it so well. My kids also tell me I'm not so good at that. It's sort of like oblong
have a good
chunks.
knife,
I know they are there. I love anything but fish poke contest.
Yeah.
So it's targeted to the Maui residents,
Okay.
or Maui, Molokai, and Lanai residents.
And kind of
Again,
come up
it's
with their
just to
own
kind
their
of
own
bring
spin on it.
attention
What are you
to
gonna
that.
Sherry? What are you gonna submit to the contest?
What am I going to submit?
Yeah.
I'm not eligible, unfortunately.
That's right. We're both.
Oh, you can't judge because you're yeah.
the judges.
What I would do, because I'm a big thinker here, I would get chocolate and cut it in cubes, and coconut and cut it in cubes, and some cherries and cut it in cubes. And then instead of the rice, I would put in vanilla ice cream. You see where I'm going with this?
It could be sweet or
It's the
savory.
poke sundae, people. Yeah.
There you go.
You heard it here first. And then I'll put whipped cream on it. It won't be in cubes. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll figure that out.
That sounds delicious,
So-
actually.
Yeah. So
So the Hawaiian dishes I should try, though, like poke, you mentioned the kind of tropical, the taro, the breadfruit, and things like that.
Kahlua pig.
Kahlua
That's
pig.
very
Oh,
popular.
tell me about that.
So it's a pig that's cooked in a emu pit, which is like it's like a pit in the ground. It's very hot, right, with
Okay.
stones,
Sand, yeah, and stones.
and it's covered. So this pig is covered all day for like 6 to 8 hours. It's cooked, and then usually you'll find Kahlua pig like at a luau.
Okay.
Somebody will go to a luau.
Okay.
And then they'll see the unveiling of the pig out of the emu
That sounds
pit.
amazing.
Yeah, but so they'll serve that up but you'll have to have
So it's a special.
taro.
the taro or the different types of things that you can do with taro. I know there's we did like a kalo poke, another one, right?
Okay.
Another poke dish. But I was going to say that, and I don't know all of his dishes, but Chef Sheldon Simeon of Top Chef fame.
Okay.
I mean, he has a tin roof restaurant. So a lot of our foods, like we talked about before, is sort of a melting
Right.
pot of all these different cultures.
Right.
And I know back when the sugar cane was being grown on the island, I think that all kind of started when all the workers that came from all different countries would get together at lunch, and they'd have these cow tins, and they would share the food.
Kind of throw it all together.
So you have the Japanese, you had the Mexican, and sure, you can correct me on what other ones were in there.
The
Maybe
Koreans,
Koreans.
the Chinese,
You have a lot of
and they all
Portuguese.
just
Isn't that
share
crazy about the Portuguese?
yeah.
And they all, Filipinos probably came.
the malasada donut is Portuguese, yes. Which
Oh,
were
yeah,
very
that's
popular.
another thing I didn't know about until so good and very healthy, correct?
Yes.
Yes, very healthy. You can ask for it with no calories.
They just give you an empty, it's the fried dough ball that's filled with stuff.
Yes.
Is that an accurate
You can
description?
have it filled or not filled.
Okay.
Yes, with powder
Yeah.
or with sugar, basically rolled in sugar.
Yeah, I just found these little roadside stands, and I would eat them, and then walk over to the beach, and I'm like, this is a horrible place. I
But
hate
the
it.
fresh fruit too. I mean, you can eat papaya and mango and pineapple.
No, let's go back to the
and
donuts. No, yeah.
avocados.
I get a sense that you're not much of a vegetable
No,
or
it's funny.
fruit.
I do love. It's funny because I do grow in my backyard a bunch of plums and peaches and stuff like that. So I do like that sort of stuff. But the special treats when you're traveling are the fried carbohydrates. Let us be very clear. That every culture has them, and they're all delicious.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a lot of the fruits that are in Hawaii, tropical ones, mango, papaya.
Right.
You mentioned avocado.
Yes.
California. We have a Haas avocado. I think the tropical avocado is a bigger one.
Yeah, we have a lot of different varieties of avocado on all the islands,
Yeah.
my understanding. But I want to steer it back to
Go.
the Lahaina restaurants.
Please tell me about
talking
that.
about
Yeah.
food. So a number of these restaurants have opened up outside of the Front Street area, but there's
Okay.
like a restaurant row, if you will, just outside of Front Street. It has the old Lahaina Luau.
Okay.
It has Star Noodle, which is amazing, and that's been around a long time. And then Aloha Mixed Plate. There's Mala Tavern, and then they just opened Cocoa Deck Lahaina, which is more of a local
Okay.
type of fare. But so there's a lot of options like right
That
there.
are back where they used to be or nearby.
No, they all are in their like their original location.
Oh, they are. Okay, that's great.
They
That's
just
the
had a
recovery
little
thing.
bit of damage and were able to reopen. But a couple of them did move to South Maui, like Kohola Brewery. We do have a
Okay.
number of breweries and distilleries too.
Oh, look at that.
Right.
Oh, well.
And Cool Cat Cafe. But I just wanted to throw that
No, and
in
I think it's
so-
important because I think for people that live there, after you go through something like the fire, which you can't really comprehend until you've been through it, there is a spiritual. When something comes back that was very important, it means a lot to the people, and it's imbued with a lot more meaning because it was where you went all the time, or you went past all the time. And I think I told you in Santa Rosa where we had the fire, there was it was really funny. It's not funny. There was this bull called Angel that everyone knew, and when you went by the freeway, Angel looked at you and just sat right there. Everything around Angel up there burned. Everything, it all burned. And the woman who unfortunately owned Angel perished in the fire. And having Angel come back and rebuilding that, it meant so much to the people of that part of the county after you avoided the fire. And you might think, I told you, like people from Maui, like we were cheering for this bull. You're like, what are you talking about? Like, no, because Angel loved everybody and sat there on the freeway and everyone honked and talked to us. So,
Represented the community.
yeah. And I think it's when they talk about Lahaina and the things that happen, I know there are also fires up country, that when they start coming back, it rallies the community around, right? And restaurants, I'm sure, are part of it.
And the banyan tree, which you probably have
yes.
seen.
Yeah, well, it was funny. I didn't go into when I was there, and I had never been to Maui before then. Definitely not the last time. But I know the tree. If you could tell me a little bit about it and the story about where it is now. What's that story?
About the tree. She's got a great picture of the tree.
All right,
actually.
I do have a great picture of the tree. So it's right after the fire. They went in right away to kind of aerate the soil under it to make sure the roots were able to breathe, and they just started watering it down and whatnot. And I don't know the time frame, but it started getting green, just sooner than expected. And right now, if you Google a photo of it, it's like full on. Looks like it's back. I
And
know
this
it's
was
been
like-
a couple of years. It was. It's like the largest banyan tree. I don't know if it's in the U.S. I don't want to speak.
I think it was, because I think the other banyan tree that was really had any close to the size was down in Florida. I think it was.
Oh, really? So is this a big
So
tropical
this
tree?
was a very big banyan
I think
tree.
it's sort of like in California, we have large oak trees that have these big, large covers, but this is bigger.
Yeah,
And like
so
people
literally
gather
it was one
underneath it.
square block right
It's
down
massive.
at the end of Lahaina was
Okay.
where this tree was.
And it's famous. Everyone knew it.
Covered it.
Everyone knew
entire
it.
Yeah,
block.
because they had festivals there. I mean, a lot of people just had a lot of great memories around that. So
Art fairs under there. I
Yeah.
mean, almost everything.
And the graphics that, the different creative that came out right after the fires was talking about Lahaina Strong, Maui Strong, and it was
Right.
a picture of the banyan tree with the roots.
Right, because
That
the
we have
roots are
the
deep.
strong roots.
The roots
And
are deep.
I know it was planted by missionaries that first came to
Oh, really?
Hawaii.
Okay.
And I apologize, I don't
Yeah.
know the year, but
I don't either.
so it has a lot of it's kind of like the bowl, if
Yeah.
you will.
Like
but-
angel.
Yeah, an angel of the world. It's imbued with meaning, right? And that's what's important.
Yeah, and a lot of people resonate that banyan tree too with Lahaina and them being in Lahaina and seeing that and all that.
Everyone I know that had been there, and the station manager Bob was in here before. Who they all have stories about that tree and that place, and Lahaina was very. People really attach themselves to it, and I'm glad to hear that it's coming back. And there are, when you're in our business, there are ups and downs, and we are paid to talk about the ups all the time. And when the downs happen, you got to try to figure it out. Like, how do I manage the downs? But it is probably really good to see things coming back, and being like, hey, I'm not talking about the downs, I'm talking about the ups.
Yeah.
Businesses are opening, houses are being built, things are getting back.
I think one of the I want to circle back on when you're saying, a message to tell everybody too, is that one of the things that, we are battling is that they say, can we go to West Maui? They don't know the distance between where Lahaina was to Kaanapali. You know, where in Kaanapali was a lot of our hotels there, you know, the Hyatt, the Westin, the Sheraton, the Royal Lahaina, all of those. That was never affected or anything like that. As a matter of fact, those were the hotels that housed all of our residents during the fire, which makes us another unique community, is that it took in all of the residents, you know, without even thinking twice about it, you know, during the fire. But then, you know, taking a look at the other side of our island, you've got South Maui, where a lot of people, when they used to stay in the West Maui, then they're like, okay, we're going to come back, but now we're going to go over to down to South Maui. And they're like, we never knew all of this existed down here. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. And it's like, it was like a whole new experience for them just going down to South Maui. So again, just letting people know that if you come back, but if you don't want to go to West Maui, that's perfectly fine.
Right, you can go to something
else. There's a whole experience over in South Maui.
That is the kind of weird thing with our business, in that people will often run in very well-worn, treaded area, right? They go here, here, and here. And you're like, well, there's a whole world out there, right? It's a three-dimensional place. So you can go visit it. And I was doing a podcast earlier with someone talking about all the great regional parks we have here for hiking. People don't think about the wine country for hiking, but we have some great hiking up here. And it's sort of like the same thing, I'm sure, with Maui. It's like there are other places to go to, people, that you should go check out and to get there. I bet you, by the way, if they go to a website, they can get all the information about visiting Maui. Does that website exist, and what is it?
It sure does. We have a great website, gohawaii.com.
Okay, gohawaii.com. I can click on the different islands and kind of see
exactly.
where I want to go, and all the Maui information's there.
But can I also put a plug in, too, for something that we are also...
Yes.
We have a special offer from our partners that it's good for the entire year. So even after this podcast, and they are thinking of going sometime in the fall, they can scan this QR code. I don't know if they could see it, but it brings up all of the special offers in the
Hold
Maui.
it up briefly there, and then what we'll do is I'll also put it wherever it goes to. I will put that link in the notes for the podcast.
Oh, that's perfect.
But just to be clear, it's not just for people listening to the podcast, because it's a very rarefied, specialized audience. These are elite people.
This is, we're
open to just the general public.
This is open to the general public who wants to travel to Maui. This is our partners on the island that have put together some special offers. So they could be discounted room nights. They could be some activities. I'm not really actually sure what kind of special offers, because it changes.
Well, I'm going to scan it as soon as this is over.
Take a look.
So it's like the welcome back kind of, come on back to see Maui again and see all the cool stuff that's there. By the way, what time do the whales appear? Is it 10 o'clock? Are they like unionized, or how do we know when they're going to be out there?
What is that? Happy hours at 5?
Or that's right.
Because I know there's a lot of whales going up between Hawaii and here, and I was out on our coast. The whales are going to Alaska right now, the ones that go from Mexico. And they say, oh, the Hawaiian ones come later. And I thought they were joking, but no, we have these different migrations.
Right. So they come, we've seen them as early as October.
Okay.
But typically we say whale season is December through mid-May.
And are they having babies out there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They don't eat when they're in Hawaii.
Yeah, that's what they say, which is awful, because there's so many good poke bowls I hear.
Yeah.
That's right.
So much spam Musubi and stuff.
Fish.
Even if it's the breadfruit
They
poke
wouldn't want to
bowl.
eat one with fish.
Like forget that one there. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit. I know you guys live in Maui. You're having a great time. You love it. But I'm going to tell you about the stuff that we have at our visitor center to try to convince Mauians to come to Sonoma Valley. I'm just going to see if it works, okay? So you're my test audience, because you just gave me the specials there. So we're like, okay, what if I brought you to a cheese making class where you learn how to make cheese and you can take the cheese home? That's pretty special.
I'm there.
Interested? Okay.
I'm there. I love cheese.
I love cheese.
Absolutely.
Okay. I don't know if you guys have these in Maui, because it might go too far and that would turn into something different. But hot air ballooning?
Do not have that in Hawaii.
We do not have that.
Right. So you can go hot air
That's a
ballooning
unique
here.
Experience. We'd have to check out.
Yeah, and I think the problem, if you miss your landing point in Maui, you're like in Tahiti, or you just got to hold on for a little bit.
And do you get a discount if you provide part of the hot air? Sorry.
Marketing lady's going to do that.
Touche.
This one, people from Indiana ask us about this, but they do it kind of quietly when people aren't listening. Cannabis tours.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
Is that a thing in Hawaii, or is that not allowed out there?
not yet.
Okay. So yeah, that's kind of funny. Happy Travelers tours, daily cannabis tours. And it is funny. People where it's not yet allowed will sort of circle it and they'll come back and go, I thought I saw a cannabis tour thing. I'm like, it's okay. This is California. You can do that. Do you guys have walking history tours?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
In Wailuku, Kihei, yes.
You do. Is it a walking history tour of the Sonoma Plaza, which is a historic? Oh, you don't. So we have that.
Yes.
Okay. But I can do one in Kihei, which sounds like really cool. We even have a guy that dresses up as different historical people. We have 3 or 4 different competing history tours. Very Sonoma thing. So yeah, he can. And this is George. George does a great tour. He just had a radio show across the street, so he's there.
Nice.
What if? How about this one? You mentioned farms. The Farm Trail Guide, where you can go visit the different farms all throughout the valley and see when they are. This is the oldest farm trails in the United States.
Wow.
The original one. Yes. Do you guys have farms in?
We have farm. Yes, we have
We
farm
do.
tours.
We don't have
Okay.
farm trails.
We don't have trails, but we do have.
Okay. I got another one for you. Do you have an Explore the Sonoma Cemeteries pamphlet?
Can't say that we do.
Carolyn, who is our cemetery person, put this out. Sonoma Cemeteries, a place for everyone. So I did lie to you that we're in like people visiting for a short time, but if you want to stay for a long time, you can learn about our cemeteries, and we have that information available for
I
you.
have to
But we
say, that
actually,
looks like a banyan tree, the logo.
you know what? It it might be kind of there. Stick around, lady.
All right, yeah,
I'll
well,
sell you a plot.
There's a place for you there.
But we actually have a historic cemetery that people can take a tour of. So it is kind of fun.
banyan
And
tree.
a lot of people
does.
do come to our visitor center and our website for genealogical research and stuff like that. So we do have that. But it is kind of funny because that is right next to all the other fun tours. And yeah, see, that's kind of fun. So
We do have some very
Incredible.
interesting.
Yes.
yeah. Have I convinced you to come to Sonoma?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I did it. Thank you. And well, we also have like 100 wineries. We have great restaurants. And it's really world-class stuff like that. But I know Maui has amazing stuff too.
Put a good word into your board.
Yes. Yes.
You know
We're
the
convinced
game.
to
You
come
know the
back.
game, lady. Well, with that, before we go to the next part of our podcast, again, I want to make sure everyone knows that they can go visit Maui now. There's special deals and offers, and we'll put that link in there. But the best place to go to the website is gohawaii.com, or if you pronounce it like the right way, it's gohawaii.
GoHawaii.com. Yeah.
Okay. And HAWAII.com. That one in Mississippi, those are 2 I always mess up. And Connecticut, but people can go there and find all the, what's going on in Maui. And I'm sure you have Facebook and Instagram.
Yes, it's Maui Visit is our Instagram page, and then Visit Maui is Facebook.
Okay. And do you take the photos yourself?
It's a group effort.
It's hard to keep up on all that stuff, isn't it? It is very funny. Have you guys ever had a chance to work directly answering questions in a visitor center? You haven't? I mean, I hadn't before this job. I mean, I'd done it tangentially, but I worked at San Francisco Travel, Sonoma County Tourism. But it's a different thing, isn't it? Because a lot of the number one question, of course, is where's the bathroom? Right. Here's the bathroom. But
Not in a visitor center. I mean, we do get walk-ins at our offices.
Right.
So that's, and get calls on the phone, but
Right.
not a visitor
But,
center.
okay.
We don't have a visitor center like you. How many do you have here?
well,
by the way?
in Sonoma Valley, we have 2. And then Sonoma County is fairly large. I mean, it's not huge. It's 1 million acres. And so I don't know how big Maui is, but it's fairly large. So almost every city has a little visitor center. And that was, those are all holdovers from before the internet. And what visitor centers are now, in addition to handing out the guides, the maps, and the cemetery information, they really are community resources. Like we sell bus passes, we sell our regional parks passes. We get a lot of elderly people just want to come in and talk and reminisce, and it's great. We hear all sorts of stuff. We're in a historic Carnegie Library building, so we can talk about the historic buildings and stuff there. We're the lost and found. I mean, we're everything. People come in, they want to know how to pay their water bill. And we're like, no, we're not the city. But we do take their cash. No, we don't.
Smart.
So we direct them on how to do that sort of stuff. So it is fun, but it's different than the straight DMO world, which is just like the marketing and PR, the sales side. I should say, for those who aren't in the business, DMO, Destination Marketing Organization. Sometimes now they're called Destination Stewardship Organizations. Every 5 years we come up with a new acronym, and we all have to roll with it. Is that accurate?
We're familiar with that.
You're in there. Yeah, you know the world. Well, here's the deal. You're now working in my visitor center, and you're going to help me answer questions that we get at the Visitor Center. People actually ask us these questions, and you're going to help me answer them. And this segment is called. You ready?
Are these questions pertaining to Sonoma?
No, these are
Or to
people that
Maui?
ask us in the Visitor Center.
Okay.
Literally questions we get. And you can ask me for help.
Okay.
But people call us, they text us, they're on Facebook. So the first question we got at the Visitor Center, what is the tallest mountain in the world, and is it true that it's in Hawaii?
Is that Mauna Kea?
It's Mauna Kea is the tallest from the below sea level to the top.
Really?
14,000 feet. Yes.
It's so weird. Someone asked me that in the Visitor Center.
And the largest mass volcano is also on Hawaii Island,
Really?
and that's Mauna Loa.
Oh. Is that the macadamia nut company? Are they named after that? Or am I crazy? Mauna Loa?
Mauna Loa Mac Nuts.
Mauna Loa,
yes, yes, it
They
is.
named it after a nut company. So these are these really tall mountains that are actually volcanoes.
Yes,
came up
but
from the-
dormant. Well, no, Mauna Loa is not dormant, but Mauna Kea is.
Really?
That's where all the observatories are.
Oh, wow.
And that has snow
Okay.
in the wintertime. Actually, all year round, you might see snow on it.
That's amazing. I'm so glad you guys were working the Visitor Center the day someone had a Hawaii question. I am so lucky.
Did you get these questions today?
All these questions come in all the time, Sherry. I just been holding in case somebody from Maui walked in the door.
Wow.
All right.
Here's another question we got today. I keep hearing about this thing called poke. What is it, and where should I get it in Maui? Why would they ask that question in Sonoma? That is so weird.
It's like you said, it's trending and it's catching on here. I mean,
Right.
if you're down in LA, down in Southern California, you see it all over the
It's
place.
all
right?
over the place.
But literally, it's cubes of fish with seasons of a little bit of shoyu, a little bit of sesame oil, a little bit of salt, a little bit of
salt,
seaweed,
yeah.
a little bit of, hot sauce if you like to make it spicy. Yeah.
It's usually served over
Mix it all in,
rice,
served
or
over rice or eat by
avocado.
itself.
And is it in Maui? I have to go. Is it hard to find? Is this like
No, you can go to Safeway. You can go to Foodland Farms. They have wonderful. Or you can go to
The food trucks.
food trucks has
At
them.
the restaurants.
I think I've got.
Restaurants
I know
carry
it.
them.
Basically, the poke is to Hawaii as a taco is to Sonoma.
Yes.
You can find them in lots of places, and
Yes.
they're always delicious, and you got to eat them.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Here's another question we got, which is odd. They came to us at the Visitor Center to ask us this question. I'm heading from Sonoma to Maui soon and want to find some local Maui wines. Where should I go and what should I taste?
Here we go. Well, they can go all the way up to Ulupalakua and go to the Maui wine where they
You guys have wine in Maui?
we do up country.
Okay.
Yeah, so up at past Makawao, right?
Past
Ulupalakua.
Makawao, and yes.
You know where you went to do the pineapple tour?
Yes.
You go a little bit further north
Okay.
or further up the mountain there,
Okay.
and that's where the winery is.
There's a winery
And then
in
right
Maui.
next to the winery, isn't there a
It's like a cowboy or paniolo type of barbecue.
barbecue area?
Restaurant.
Exactly. But the winery itself makes white wine and red wine.
Okay.
And so if you're going to go all the way up to the winery, there's one thing that you have to get if you love chocolate. It's called pineapple snow, and it's white chocolate infused with pineapple wine and macadamia nuts.
Really?
And you can only get it there.
Right.
Okay.
And the other thing with Maui wine is they just collaborated with Maui Cookie Lady to create a cookie that's infused with wine,
I mean,
right? With red
I'm going to
wine.
tell the person who walked into the Visitor Center and asked this
Yes.
that is a key question.
Maui wine in Ulupalakua.
Okay. Here's another question we got at the Visitor Center about Sonoma. I'm hearing about Sweet Paradise Chocolate. Is that a chocolate company in Hawaii or Maui?
Sweet Paradise? I
Yeah,
have not
you know
heard
that?
of that. I'm not
Okay,
familiar with
good
it.
to know.
Yeah.
Okay, I will tell that person.
Maui estate chocolate would
Oh,
be
really?
what I would respond to that with.
You guys know a lot about this stuff. Okay, and the final question we got at the Visitor Center about Sonoma, but might happen to be about Hawaii. I got to find it. Where'd it go? Oh, no, where'd it go? It was about someone is going to a place where there's like, oh, gosh, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm failing on this one. They asked me this question. Okay. And, oh, here it is. I don't know why they asked. After they asked where the bathroom was, they asked, is it better to visit Haleakala at sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
Well,
That's
it
my
all
answer.
depends. Okay. Sunset, because she's not an early bird person. That's probably.
Okay.
No, I am an early bird.
Well, first, did I
No,
pronounce that
so
one right?
Go ahead,
here's
Sherry.
here's the pros and cons.
Okay.
First of all, if you're going to do a sunrise, you have to have a reservation to go and see the sunrise.
Really?
So you have to have a reservation before 7 a.m. So that's probably why
Okay.
she might have said that.
yeah.
And then if you do a sunset, you don't need a reservation, and it's really basically the same experience but in reverse. And so it's still you're still doing the drive all the way up there.
Right.
It's still going to be cold once that sun goes down.
Okay.
And here's the funny thing: is that people always say, "Oh, you're in Maui. It's not going to be cold. I don't need to bring anything. I'm going up there." Oh no.
Oh, yeah.
10,000 feet.
10,000
10,000
feet.
feet? Oh,
Yeah.
that's cold up
We've
there.
seen people go up there with shorts. We're like, oh my gosh, this poor person.
And you can drive up there?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You drive up there. Yeah. So make sure you dress warm as if it was 30 degrees.
Wow.
That's about what it is.
Like you're from like you're from Philadelphia
yeah.
Right?
or something like or Delaware.
Exactly.
And how do you pronounce that mountain again?
Haleakala?
Oh, it is Haleakala. I pronounced it correctly?
Yeah.
Oh, look at me.
Good job.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a weird question. So, I don't know why we got so many Maui and Hawaii questions today at the Visitors Bureau in Sonoma. That's weird. It's a very
You
weird.
knew we were coming.
They knew we were
must have
coming.
known.
Right?
And oftentimes I will just say, just wait long enough, and I'm sure someone from Maui will come by here and answer these questions. So it's so good.
But it's also saying that they're ready to travel to Maui. So it's a positive thing that they're
are.
asking
They're
questions.
ready.
right?
Well, before we wrap up, guys, I want to make sure, is there anything I didn't ask you or anything you want to get the word out to the 3 listeners of my podcast about Maui? This is your chance.
I think we just want to reiterate the importance of now is the time to travel to Maui. Don't be shy. It's, if you're not going to go to West Maui, go to South Maui. There's, there's upcountry. There's so many different experiences that, you probably haven't even thought of doing. It's not just, going to the hotel and sitting by the pool, but there's so many different experiences. And, to reach out to us at the Visitors Bureau there on Maui, you can find us online. You can find us, Google us. There's our phone numbers.
You're on social
And
media.
yeah, we'll be happy.
Right.
We've got a great reception. Rochelle, she loves to talk to our visitors. As a matter of fact,
Fantastic.
Rochelle is known to have our visitors will spend so much time with them on the phone, helping them plan their itinerary and answering their questions that when they actually get to Maui, they make it a point to stop in.
They stop by and be
to
like,
see her.
I love that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
She's
and Rochelle's not even on
she's
commission.
The epitome of the
Nope.
aloha that I was speaking about.
exactly.
I
earlier,
love that.
so,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and if people want more information, I believe it's gohawaii.com. And make sure you click on the Maui section there. 3 islands in one when you go to Maui. And then there's other beautiful islands of aloha in Hawaii, is my understanding. Although I hear Maui's the best. Now,
Maui
you
no
can't say
Ka'oi.
that.
Maui na Ka'oi.
Oh, does that mean Maui's the best?
That's what it means. Maui is the best. Maui's number 1.
I love that. Okay. I was going to say, like,
Another Hawaiian word for you, or words.
thank you. Oh, yeah.
Ka'oi.
Is there like a last word I should have learned before I go anywhere else?
Well, I was telling you at the beginning of the show, right, to say a hui ho, which means you don't say goodbye, but until we meet again.
Really?
A hui ho.
A hui ho. And with that, after you go to gohawaii.com/Maui and you have a great time there and you've already gone to SonomaValley.com, I'm not going to say goodbye on this podcast, but I'm going to say Sherry and I'm going to say Leanne, thank you for coming on, and a hui ho.
A hui ho.
A hui ho.
Thank you very much, guys.